guys, and welcome to another video. So this one is, of course, it's the rumour mill. It's the transfer rumours. There's a little bit of validity to some of these rumours, shall we say, which makes it worth making this video. Anyways, there's quite a few players I'm going to go through. If you're excited, hit the like button and subscribe if you are new. Of course, I do apologise that my upload schedule has been very sluggish. As I say, there's just a lot going on behind the scenes at the minute that's making it very, very hard for me to maintain a regular upload schedule. But hopefully, at some point in the future, that will be that'll be rectified. But as of right now, it's kind of indefinite as to when I can and can't upload. But yeah, so getting into it. Of course, tomorrow we do have there's a lot of people who say it's not a derby. I'm on the side of it isn't a derby. I think it's somewhat of a rivalry because some people big it up to be a derby. I don't think it is. I think Newcastle, I think the Mags are our only real derby, if I'm completely honest with you, entirely honest. But for me, yeah, it's a bit of a rivalry, but that's all it is because it has been bigged up so much. So at first I don't really give a shit, but then when it comes to kick-off, I'm really up for it and I'm bothered because it has been touted to be a derby, but it isn't. Either way, yeah, getting into it, I will start off with the most valid one at the moment because just probably about half an hour before making this video and pressing record, this was going to be just a rumour, but now it seems to have a little bit of meat on it, and that is the potential recalling of Ellis Simms. Now, there's been a lot of talks about it over the last sort of week or two because he's basically, I think he's had about 17 minutes, something like that, since going back to Everton on loan. He's had barely any game time, and when he is coming on, they're throwing him onto a toxic atmosphere when there's 5 minutes left of the game and they're getting battered. It's been absolutely appalling for the lad. You know, I was infuriated when they took him back anyway because they've got a toxic crowd at Everton in the minute, and rightly so, for different reasons. So to bring a young lad back who is just finding his feet in the Championship, is getting momentum, is getting looked after, he's doing really, really well for us. You know, confidence flying, is getting coached really well, and then to take him back and throw him to that shit show, I think he was just throwing him to the Sharks. He's throw him under the bus there. And then so you just kill the momentum, kill his confidence, and then potentially send him back to us, which is, I want him back, but apparently no Everton, they're looking at A, B, C, D, and they're not really looking at Ellis Simms as a potential suitor for the situation that they're in at the minute. So apparently, as of half an hour ago, quite a few legit and sort of reliable sources across the internet, like Football Insider, they get quite a lot right, got a heavy following, they have been saying, and it was amongst others as well, they've been saying that Ellis Simms, he just looks set to return to Wearside. Again, it's not 100%, but it has been touted to happen, so that I would absolutely be on board with that. Let me know in the comments down below if you would be on board with seeing a return of Ellis Simms. I'd be absolutely buzzing for it. Absolutely. We know that Ross Stewart needs help. I'm hoping that we're not completely throwing all our eggs in one basket in case this Ellis Simms deal doesn't come back and he doesn't return to us, because then we could be screwed, and I don't want us to panic by players, which we haven't been known for doing, to be fair, under Speakman, but we shall see. But next up, we do have another striker, and it is a lad called Andras Nemeth, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, and it's a lad that I'm actually quite excited by. He was actually linked with us towards the beginning of this transfer window. He currently plays for Genk. I haven't seen too much of him, I won't lie to you, but now that I've seen the sort of same YouTube sort of compilations that everyone else has, but there's been reports, of course, you know, you get, once we get touted around new players, you know, you get sort of Sunderland journalists that go to the relevant journalists, you know, around sort of Genk and stuff like that, and their sort of Gazette type papers, and they ask them and how they feel about the lad, and fan sort of fan pages asking what they think about him, and apparently a young, up and coming, strong, quick lad who knows where the back of the net is, which is exactly what you want in a striker, and that's what I like. You can see him anywhere by the picture. You know, he's a big lad, strong lad, physical presence, and that's what we're going for at the minute. You know, up top, when we've had the likes of Ellis Simms and Stewart up top, the great up top together. I love it because they just bully defences, and that's what I want to see. A bit of physicality, a bit of pacing behind as well. I think he'd make a cracking addition. But it has been said that Genk aren't willing to let him go. I think his contract does run out at the end of the season. You think that you might want to cash in on him now, but it has been sort of leaning towards him staying until the end of the season with Genk, and then we might end up getting him on a free if that is the case. But we shall see. Next up, we have Pierre Ekwah from West Ham. He's currently in the under-21s of West Ham, a little bit of an unknown entity. He plays in the centre of midfield, and even a lot of West Ham fans I've seen from their reaction to it, they don't know a massive amount about him. I think he played in a friendly relatively recently. I think it was when the World Cup was going on, so a lot of clubs had friendlies going on, and he played quite well in a friendly. I think it may have been against Cambridge. I could be wrong there, but apparently he played quite well. He's scoring goals in the under-21s. I think he only scored the other night. I think it was actually last night. He scored and got himself an assist before going off injured, which is obviously our luck, isn't it? If that is the case, I don't know how severe or serious the injury could potentially be. But yeah, I think he picked up a knock last night. But he picks up goals, assists from midfield. Is generally known as a sort of box-to-box playmaker type role, but can do a bit of both. You know, a bit of the dirty work as well as going forward and, you know, like I say, grabbing goals and assists. That's a player I'd be very excited to bring on. And as you can see, we're absolutely following the pattern of young, up-and-coming players. A lot of people, they do say, and I make this argument every transfer window now, you know, particularly with strikers and what have you, they look directly at their stats and they say, oh no, we have had too many first-team appearances. Or they'll say, oh, he's only scored 3 goals in 20 games or something like that. It's like, well, I don't think, there's not that many players that have scored 20 goals in 20 games out there just sat there waiting for Sunderland to pick them up. Do you know what I mean? That's very rare. You need to bank on a player, and you need to give players an opportunity. Every player starts with 0 games, 0 goals. Do you know what I mean? Everyone starts with the same. So give them, some players, they might just have the potential there to give them a chance. You know, Ross Stewart, his record wasn't amazing before he came to us. And now everyone loves him because he is doing amazing with us. But give him the chance. So let's just, you know, before getting on players' backs or having a pop at the club for having a look at players with potential and they don't have a proven track record, let's just take it easy and give him a chance. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Ekwah, I'd be very, very happy with that. He looks, from the bits and pieces, the very little out there that I've seen, he looks the part, he looks the deal. But yeah, I think that would be a loan deal up until the end of the season if that was to go through. And now another striker from Leeds, Joe Gelhardt. Now, only over the last couple of days, it has been said that he's pretty much on the brink of signing for Wigan, his former club. Of course, he will be going on loan from Leeds. You would think anyway, I think it would be a loan deal. You know, he's a hot prospect. He looked dangerous last time he was at Wigan. He looks like a really good, a nifty little player, a useful asset, I think. But we have been given a link with him as well. Apparently we're in for him, and I'd be quite happy to take him. I absolutely would. I'd be quite excited. Again, it's one of those where he doesn't have an amazing record in terms of games and goals scored, but I've seen quite a bit of him. He does look exciting, and I think with the right team around him, the right support, he could absolutely do the business in the Championship, in my opinion. Whether he ends up coming to Sunderland and go almost to Wigan or many other clubs, apparently there's literally like 10 to 11, 12 Championship clubs that are currently rumoured to be interested in him. So he's just one of them. I thought I'd just include that one as well. But now there is one that actually does seemingly have a bit of validity, and that is Isaac Lihadji. He's a 20-year-old winger currently playing for Lille, I believe. I think he's currently playing for Lille at the moment. He signed from Marseille in 2020. Again, it's one of these players I don't know a massive amount about. We've only seen the same YouTube compilations that everyone else has had, and then there's been reports in France saying that we are after him, and we are incredibly close, and we're in advanced talks with Lille to sign him. I think it may be on a permanent as well, which would absolutely, you know, if you have a look at the compilations, he looks like a decent little player. You know, 20 years old, again, it's another player fits the bill with our system at the minute, the process that we're going with at the club. Young player, up and coming, plenty of potential, looks exciting. I believe, I'm sure I saw somewhere yesterday in an article that he actually broke his leg a few years ago, potential anyway, and he looked like he was the sort of next best thing, broke his leg, and now he's kind of on the up and coming, you know, to come back. And we've seen that with players in the past. We've seen that with players where we've brought players in. For example, just as much as recently, Pritchard, you know, he was known as someone who kind of fizzled out, injured all the time, and we've seen the class, and granted it's typical, he's picked up knocks now, but he had a really good run in the team, and he's getting back to his old self, and he's been excellent for large parts, Pritchard. We've seen it, you know, with players like Diallo, who he went downhill a little bit. We brought him in, he's doing amazingly now. So we're giving these young players who once had these huge titles of huge potentials, you know, star sort of young players that will be coming through. We're getting known as being the club that, you know, giving them another chance, and it's coming off and it can pay off. So a lad like this, you know, from abroad, looks good, looks the part, give him a chance, and I'm sure that we'd reap the rewards, well, hopefully, if he was to come as well. And lastly, we have been linked with Leeds, as another Leeds player, Charlie Cresswell, centre-back, Been on loan at Millwall, done well, been on loan since the beginning of the season, done really well. Looks against another player, young player, 2021 I believe. Looks the part, really, really decent player in my eyes. We've played up against him this season already. I think he looked really, really good. And again, we're really, really short at the back. But it just depends how that's going to work with him being at Millwall. I'm not too sure whether he's been recalled or not. I'm very confused with reports at the moment. I don't think he has. But Leeds have outlined that there's even potential for him to leave permanently. So I would be incredibly, incredibly happy with that sign. You know, with the likes of Ballard, who apparently at the moment has picked up an injury. You know, these kind of strong, young centre-backs, bringing them in, like say, Ballard, Cresswell, and then mixing him in with the likes of Danny Bart, Luke O'Nien, who's starting to pick up experience. It's a really nice mixture there. Alessi as well with the youth. There's a lot of defenders there that I just think it gives it a really, really good spine to the side. So Cresswell again, I think this would be a long shot, but I'd be incredibly happy to see him step through the door. But that is everything at the moment, guys. I know I've just thrown a load of words at you pretty much, and there's even more players that we have been linked with. I think there's been a right back from I think Uruguay or Argentina recently. His name evades me, but there's just so much. There's just so much we've been linked with. That's what happened to the rumour mill. I thought I'd wait for there to be quite a few to go through. But that is everything at the moment, guys. So what do you guys think about any of the players that I have mentioned? Would you take them all? Or then you definitely won't go anywhere near? Or is there anyone who I haven't mentioned who you think we should go for? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me and subscribe if you're new to the channel to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.